Christ and the Antichrist, chapter 22, titled The Antichrist in the Hindu Scriptures. So it's titled The Antichrist in the Hindu Scriptures, verse 1. Remember how the Roman Catholic monk told the Antichrist's uncle that Muhammad was the prophet they were told to look for in their ancient books. Thus far, we've showed you two books, the Apocalypse of Abraham and the book of the prophet Enoch, which Bahira, the Roman Catholic monk, referred to in his speech to Muhammad's uncle. We will now show you another of those books. This book or literature is called Bhavisha Purana Pratisagi, part 111, and many titles and many verses, with the subtitle The Prediction of Islam and Muhammad. This book is one of the many sacred scriptures of the Hindus, which was written thousands of years ago. It is written in the said scripture that Sri Sutta Goswami said in the dynasty of King Shalivana, there were 10 kings who went to the heavenly planets after ruling for over 500 years. Then gradually the morality declined on the earth. At that time, Bajaraja was the 10th of the kings on the earth. When he saw that the moral law of conduct was declining, he went to conquer all the directions of his country with 10,000 soldiers commanded by Kalidasa. He crossed the river Sindhu and conquered over the Gandharas, Mlekas, Shakas, Kashmiris, Naravas and Satars. He punished them and collected a large amount of wealth. Then the king went along with Muhammad, Muhammad, the preceptor of Melchia Dharma, and his followers to the great god Lord Shiva situated in the desert. He bathed Lord Shiva with Ganges water and worshipped him in his mind with Pankagavya, milk, ghee, yogurt, cow dung and cow urine, and sandalwood paste, etc. After he offered some prayers and pleased him, Sutta Goswami said, after hearing the king's prayers, Lord Shiva said, O King Bahajaraja, you should go to the place called Mahakashavara. That land is called Vahika, and now is being contaminated by the Mleshans in that terrible country. There is no longer exist Dharma. There was a mystic demon named Tripura, whom I have already burnt to ashes. He has come again by the order of Bali. He has no origin, but achieved a benediction from me. His name is Mahamada, Muhammad, and his deeds are like that of a ghost. Therefore, O king, you should not go to this land of the evil ghosts. By my mercy, your intelligence will be purified. Hearing this, the king came back to his country, and Muhammad came with them to the bank of the river Sindhu. He was expert in expanding illusion. So he said to the king very pleasantly, O great king, your God has become my servant. Just see, as he eats my remnants, so I will show. The king became surprised when he saw this just before them. Then in anger, Kalidasa rebuked Muhammad, O rascal, you have created an illusion to bewilder the king. I will kill you. You are the lowest. That place is known as their site of pilgrimage, a place which was Medina, or free from intoxication, having a form of a ghost. Buddha, the expert illusionist Muhammad, appeared at night in front of King Bahajaja and said, O king, your religion is of course known as the best religion among all. Still, I'm going to establish a terrible and demonic religion by the order of the Lord. The symptoms of my followers will be that they first of all will cut their genitals, have no shikha, but having beard, be wicked, make noise loudly, and eat everything. They should eat animals without performing any rituals. This is my opinion. They will perform purification act with the musala or pesto as you purify your things with kusha. Therefore, they will be known as Musliman, brackets, either Muslims, the corrupters of religion. Thus, the demonic religion will be founded by me. After having heard all this, the king came back to his palace, and that ghost, brackets, Muhammad, went back to his place. The intelligent king, Bohajaraj, established the language of Sanskrit in three Venas, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, he established Prakrita Bhasha, the ordinary language spoken by common men. After ruling his kingdom for 50 years, he went to the heavenly planet. The moral laws established by him were honored even by the demigods. The Arya Vata, the pious land, is situated between Vindhyakala and Himkala, or the mountains known as Vindhya and Himalaya. The Aryans reside there, but Vanasankaras reside on the lower part of the Vindhya. The Musliman, either Muslims, people were kept on the other side of the river Sindhu. On the island of Babra, Tosha, and many others, also the followers of the Isamisha were also situated, as they were managed by a king or demigods. Again, the above testimony was taken from the Hindu scriptures, Bhavisha Purana. The word Purana refers to any of 18 collections of Hindu legends and religious instructions. The first point we would like to make is that even though we have taken from the Hindu scriptures, we still regard them as being false and demonic, as you will see in the pages to come. In other words, the Hindu religion is false, and we do not regard it as being the truth, even though it has some truths in her. We hope you have understood this. The Hindu faith is a lie, and the word lie means an intentionally false statement, a perversion of the truth. A lie corrupts and aims to pervert the truth. By these simple definitions of the word lie, one can begin to see that the truth cannot be perverted without the lie being involved in it in some way. In other words, a lie always contains some truth or a truth that it is trying to pervert. This is why most lies are told beginning with the truth. For example, the truth, which is the word of Papa God, as we have seen, say that Muhammad once was as Azazel. This reality that Muhammad once was as Azazel has been proved by the word of Papa God and the prophet Enoch. But in the lesser truth, which we call the Hindu scriptures, we'll have this truth strengthened, brackets confirmed, even though it has been corrupted. Howbeit, this does not make the Hindu scriptures the truth. The Hindu scriptures is a lie, but a lie always involves and contains some truths, as we have previously said. This is the reason why we have gone into the Hindu scriptures to extract some truths. All we need from her is the confirmation that Muhammad's coming was foretold in her. This is the first point. In the lesser truth, brackets, Hindu scriptures, as we have seen, it began with a tale of a king named Shalivana. It also talked about 10 kings who went to the heavenly planets after ruling for more than 500 years. He then went on to name another character, Bahajaraja, who it said was the 10th of the kings on earth at that time. She also talked about how the said character, Baharaja, saw that the moral law of conduct was declining in the earth, which caused him to go and conquer all the directions of his country with 10,000 soldiers commanded by another character named Kalidasa. So, according to the lesser truths, there were 10 kings who reigned in the dynasty of King Shalivahana, and after their reign of 500 years, they went to the heavenly planets. You would do well to remember previously how we saw in the greater truth, the book of the prophet Enoch, Muhammad, when he once was as Azazel. Therefore, any book or books which speak of Muhammad's past or future life must contain some reference from that greater truth, brackets, book of the prophet Enoch. Now, in the book of the prophet Enoch, we also saw how Satan, brackets, Semjaza, and his associates, brackets, angels, were the leaders and the chiefs of 10. Let us remind you of the said words from the book of the prophet Enoch. Again, it is written that the prophet Enoch said, and these are the names of their leaders: Samjaza, their leader; Arakiba, Ramiel, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Asaziel, Amaros, Batriel, Amanel, Zakiel, Samsapiel, Satriel, Turiel, Jemajiel, Sariel. These are the chiefs of tens. In other words, Chamjaza and Co ruled over 10 kings, and in the decree of Papa God against them, he instructed Angel Gabriel to proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy, brackets, the children of fornication and the children of watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request that they make of these shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. This is another example of how the lie is a perversion of the truth. In the greater truth, which is the word of Papa God, brackets, Book of Enoch, we saw how those rebellious spirits were chiefs and leaders of tens. We also saw in Papa God's decree against them how they were only permitted to live up to 500 years. This is the greater truth. However, in the lesser truth or the perversion of it, brackets, Hindu scriptures, we see how those same spirits assumed different names. We also saw how they reigned over 10 kings for the period of 500 years. However, instead of being tied up in the valleys of the earth, as the greater truth says, the lie fabled that they went to the heavenly planets. Going back to the lesser truth and the story of the prediction of the coming of Muhammad, the writer continued, at that time, brackets, the reign of Satan and his angels through those 10 kings, Bahajaraja was the 10th of the kings on the earth. When he saw that the moral law of conduct was declining, he went to conquer all the directions of his country with 10,000 soldiers commanded by Kalidasa. He crossed the river Sindhu, Shakas, Kashmira, Naravas, and Satas. So whilst the last of those 10 kings was in the middle of his reign, he allegedly crossed over the river Sindhu and conquered many nations. Kashmira, Melekas, Ganharas are the names of 3 of those nations. Kashmir in the noun is a native or inhabitant of Kashmir, the Indo-Iranian language of Kashmiri. In the adjective, it is of or pertaining to Kashmir and its people. Gandharas is an ancient region in northwest of India and East Afghanistan. Lastly, the word Mlekas in the Sanskrit dictionary refers to A barbarian, B, a non-Aryan, brackets, one not speaking the Sanskrit language or not conform to Hindu or Iranian institutions, a foreigner in general. From the above testimonies and from the definitions of the word Milkas, it would be unfair not to agree that Satan and his 10 kings conquered the world. Or at least this was their aim. So according to the records we have just seen, Satan and his 10 kings crossed over the Sindhu river in their quest to conquer the world. The word Sindhu, Sindhi, or Sindhu refer to an inhabitant of Sindh, and it's also a modern Indic language of the lower Indus Valley. Sindh is also a former province of Pakistan in the lower Indus Valley, now part of West Pakistan. Now, the word Hinduism is a name given in the 9th century to the coalition of religions that existed in India, according to John Boker in his book titled World Religions. Hinduism is also the common religion of India, based upon the religion of the original Aryan settlers as expounded and evolved in the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, etc. Having an extremely diversified character with many schools of philosophy and theology, many popular cults, and a large phantom symbolizing the many attributes of a single God. Buddhism, Jainism, and Islam are outside the Hindu tradition but are regarded as related religions. Dictionary.com. There's quite a lot for us to take in from the meaning of these words we just looked at: Hinduism, Indus Valley, Sindhu, and the original Aryan settlers. We'll come back to these words, but for now, let's concentrate on those rebellious spirits and their movements across the river Sindhu. Let the beloved reader please journey back with us to the book of the prophet Enoch. You would do well to remember that the Antichrist, when he once was as Azazel, was imprisoned in the valley at the desert. Even so, Satan and his angels were also locked in the valleys of the earth, as we previously saw. That's wonderful. So those rebellious spirits were locked up in the valleys of the earth, and as we have seen from the Hindu scriptures, their descendants were the Hindus. Remember, the word Hinduism comes from the Persian word Hindu, and it refers to those people belonging to the Indus Valley. Now, according to Dictionary.com, the Indus Valley had an ancient civilization which flourished from about 2500 to 1500 BC in India. The beloved reader will also do well to bear in mind that the word Hinduism, as we have seen, is the common religion of India based upon the religion of the original Aryan settlers. Question: who were those Aryan settlers? Answer: those rebellious spirits and their children, brackets Azazel and co. Remember, the word Melechaks refers to a person who is not conformed into Hindu or Aryan institutions, and according to the Hindu scriptures, Satan and his 10 kings crossed over the river Sindhu and conquered the Melechans and many other nations. Thus, those Aryan settlers were none other than those rebellious spirits who flourished at Indus Valley in India. In the Dictionary.com, the word Aryan in the noun reads as follows: a member of or descendant of the prehistoric people who spoke Indo-European. We may finally conclude that those prehistoric people were none other than the Watchers and their descendants from the first heaven. Remember also that they, brackets Satan and co, were locked up in the valleys of the earth, and as we have seen, there was a civilization that flourished in the Indus Valley. They were also associated with the Aryans, who are labeled as being prehistoric people. We would like to make another point before moving on. The words which we saw written in the Hindu scriptures, Baha, Visha, Purana, were written in the now, past tense, and in the future tense. In other words, the writer or writers of Baha, Visha, Purana wrote regarding what had already taken place in their world and what was to come. So some parts of the said scripture were prophecies which at that time had not been fulfilled. This is not strange at all, but a common practice with regards to religious texts. For example, the Bible states that the Christ, as the son of David, was slain before the foundation of the world. But this did not materialize in the physical realm until around 2,500 years ago. It's the same is the same case here with regards to the Hindu scriptures. Do not forget that those rebellious spirits stole the knowledge of good and evil from the first heaven. So they had some knowledge on what was to come in the future. Going back to the Hindu scriptures, it says, Shri Sutta Goswami said, in the dynasty of King Shalivana, there were 10 kings who went to the heavenly planets after ruling for 500 years. Then gradually, the morality declined on earth. At that time, Jaraja was the 10th of the kings on the earth. When he saw that the moral law of conduct was declining, he went to conquer all the directions of his country with 10,000 soldiers commanded by Kalidasa. He crossed the river Sindhu and conquered over the Gadharas, Mlikas, Shakars, Kashmiris, Naravas, and Satars. He punished them and collected a large amount of wealth. Then the king went along with Mahamada, brackets Muhammad, the preceptor of Melkadama, and his followers to the great god Lord Shiva situated in the desert. As we have previously seen, those rebellious spirits were locked up in the valleys of the earth until the Christ came and commenced the judgment against them. So according to the Hindu scriptures, those rebellious spirits crossed over the Sindhu River with 10,000 soldiers and conquered the world. Then the king went along with Muhammad, brackets Muhammad, and his followers to the great great God, Lord Shiva, situated in the desert. Then means afterwards, next in order, etc. So after those rebellious spirits and their descendants crossed over the river Sindhu, conquered and collected booty, then the king, bracket spirit of Satan, went along with Muhammad to the god, bracket Shiva, at the desert. We have evidence of this scattered all over the history books. For example, it says in Ibid, page 424, that the city of Mecca is said by the Brahmins on the authority of their old books to have been built by a colony from India. And its inhabitants from the earliest era have had a tradition that it was built by Ishmael, the son of Hagar. This town in the Indus language would be called Ishmaelistan. In the Acropolis, in the Anacalypis, volume 1, page 421, it says, the temple of Mecca was founded by a colony of Brahmins from India. It was a sacred place before the time of Muhammad, and they were permitted to make pilgrimages to it for several centuries after his time. Its great celebrity as a sacred place long before the time of the false prophet cannot be doubted. Maliti or Shenjis wrote on the website viewzone2.com, before Muhammad's time, the Hinduism of the Arab people was called Saba. Saba or Saba is a Sanskrit word meaning the assembly of the gods. Saba was also called Isha Ayalam, brackets, Shiva's temple. The term Muslim or Muz Ashalam, Shiva's temple, is just another name of Sabiism. The word has now shrunk to Islam. Muhammad himself, being a member of the Quraysh family, was first a Sabist. We have another witness statement from the editor and writer on viewzone.com, which supports the Hindu scriptures' claim of their descendants crossing over the river Sindhu in their attempt to conquer the world. It is written on viewzone.com that about 900 BC, the cult of Brahm was carried to the Middle and Near East by several different Indian groups after a severe rainfall and earthquake tore northern India apart, even changing the courses of the Indus and Saravati rivers. The classical geographer Strabo tells us just how nearly complete the abandonment of northwestern India was. Aristobulus says that when he was sent upon a certain mission in India, he saw a country of more than 1,000 cities, together with villages that had been deserted because the Indus had abandoned its proper bed. Strabo's geography. The editor and writer of viewzone.com carried on with his witness statement. The drying up of the Saravati around 1900 BCE, which led to a major relocation of the population centered around in the Sindhu and the Saravati valleys, could have been the event that caused a migration westward from India. It is soon after this time that the Indic element begins to appear all over West Asia, Egypt and Greece. Indic ideas in the Greco-Roman world by Subhash Kak, taken from India Star Online Literacy Magazine, page 14. Edward Pocock writes on India in Greece. In no similar instance have events occurred fraught with consequences of such magnitude as those flowing from the great religious war, which for a long series of years raged throughout the length and breadth of India. That contest ended by the expulsion of vast bodies of men, many of them skilled in arts of early civilization, and still great numbers warriors by profession, driven beyond the Himalayan mountains in the north and to Ceylon, their last stronghold in the south, swept across the valley of the Indus on the west. These persecuted people carried with them the germs of the European arts and sciences. The mighty human tide that passed the barrier of the Punjab rolled on towards its destined channel in Europe and in Asia to fulfill its beneficent office in the moral fertilization of the world. The distance of the migratory movement was so vast, the disguise of names so complete, and Grecian information so calculated to mislead that nothing short of a total disregard of theoretic principles and the resolution of independent research gave the slightest chance of a successful elucidation. We would like to take this opportunity to thank Edward Pockart, the editor of ViewZone.com, for his expert knowledge on the subject. I would also like to thank the late Indian linguist Malitin O'Shenjes and all the historians that contributed in the above reports. They have added immensely to our understanding of the movements of Satan and his 10 kings after they allegedly crossed over the Sindhu River. Going back to the lesser truth, which is the Hindu scriptures, again it says, then the king, brackets Satan and co, went along with Mahamada, brackets Mohammed, the preceptor of Militia Dharma, and his followers to the great god Lord Shiva, situated in the desert. According to the above testimony, the Antichrist is the teacher and the instructor of the Hindu religion and his laws, the preceptor of Militia Dharma. It also says that the Antichrist and his followers are the disciples of the Shiva, brackets the destroyer, who resides in the desert. This testimony agrees with that of the late Indian linguist Maliti J. Shenjis, who said, as we have previously seen, that before Muhammad's time, the Hindus of the Arab people was called Saba. He went on to explain that Saba or Saba is a Sanskrit word which means the assembly of the gods. He also called Saba Isha Ayalam, which means Shiva's temple. The Indian linguist also revealed for us that the term Muslim or Mushhalam, brackets Shiva's temple, is another name of Sabiism. Thus, the word Muslim refers to those whom Shiva, who resides in the desert, lives in. In other words, the Muslims are the temple of the destroyer, brackets Shiva. Shiva in the dictionary.com read as follows: the destroyer, the third member of the Trimurti, along with Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the preserver. John Boker wrote in his book, World Religions, concerning Shiva. Shiva is the third in the Hindu Trinity, or Trimurti, along with Vishnu and Brahma. He is everything and therefore appears in many different forms in Shiva Purana text. He has over 1,000 names, such as Mahadvara, the Lord of Knowledge, and Mahakala, the Lord of Time. He is the creator, destroyer, preserver, and is often depicted with 3 tails, 2 opposites, such as male and female. Great yogi and diligent householder, or Bhaivara, the destroyer, and the giver of rest, and the third serene and peaceful, reconciling them. His city is Varanasi in India. Anyone who dies there will go straight through death to Shiva, even if they are burdened with bad karma. Shiva is often worshipped through the linga male energy, surrounded by the yoni, the female source of life. According to Shiva Purama, it is not the linga that is worshipped, but the one whose symbol it is. The above revelation from John Boker and Shiva Purama is very instructive. So it's not the linga, brackets male energy, that is being worshipped, but the one, brackets yoni, female, whose image it is. Wonderful revelation indeed. So Shiva is the destroyer of Papa God's works. Shiva is not a destroyer or one of the destroyers of Papa God's works, but the destroyer. This means Shiva is the chief destroyer of Papa God's works, of whom other destroyers hail from. In other words, Shiva is not a destroyer or one of the many destroyers, but the destroyer himself, of whom the scriptures refer to at times. For example, in the book of Isaiah the prophet, Papa God declared, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster, bracket destroyer, to destroy." Isaiah 54:16. As we have just seen in the above revelation from Papa God, the destroyer was created by him to destroy. Therefore, he, the destroyer, is not one with Papa God in the Trinity. Instead, he is in the Babylonian Trinity with the Bishop of Rome and their prophet, Sin, aka Muhammad. In other words, Shiva is the destroyer of Papa God's works. He was created by Papa God to do his works of destruction. Remember how we previously saw from the dictionary.com that Shiva manifests herself in many different ways. We also saw how he or she has over 1,000 names. We previously saw as well how she or her is depicted with three tails, two opposites, such as male and female. Do not also forget that we saw from the Hindu scriptures how the Antichrist is the teacher of the Mircha Dharma and how the Muslims are followers of Shiva in the desert. In other words, the black stone in the desert at Mecca is associated with Shiva. The black stone is called Hajar Aswad, which is from the Sanskrit word Sanji Ashwata, or non-white stone. Hence, it is called the black stone by Muslims. The Shiva is also called Shajwe Sanji Ashwa, non-white stone. Now, the word lingam from dictionary.com in Sanskrit is the masculine gender, brackets male, a phallus and a symbol of Shiva. Phallus is an image of the male reproductive organ, especially that carried in procession in Asian festivals of Dionysus or Bacchus, which symbolize generative power in nature. A phallus in anatomy is the penis, the clitoris, or sexually undifferentiated embryonic organ out of which either of these develops. Dictionary.com. By studying the pictures of the black stone at Mecca, one cannot fail to notice that it resembles the image of yoni, brackets female genitals. Now, from the dictionary.com, yoni in Shaktism is the external female genitals regarded as a symbol of Shakti. Shaktism is the female principle or organ of generative power and the wife of a deity, especially of Shiva. So yoni is an image, an idol, or the structure of the external female genitals, while phallus, which is the symbol of Shiva, is the penis or the male reproductive organ. This is glorious. So the black stone and Mecca is the structure of the female genitals, yoni. Let's meditate on what has been revealed thus far by looking at the pictures of the black stone and that of the yoni below. See how they both resemble that of the female genitals. The above is the picture. The above are the pictures of the black stone at Mecca, whilst the one below is that of yoni. That's the black stone at Mecca, and below is the image of yoni. So one is the Muslims and this one is the Hindus. Again, this one belongs to the Muslims. The black stone at Mecca, I see a Muslim wearing his hat, worshipping it, venerating it, and below is the Hindu one. They look exactly the same. The pictures above are the pictures of the black stone at Mecca, whilst the one below is a yoni altar, or is a yoni altar. The pictures on the previous pages testify and agree with the historians, along with the lesser truth that the black stone at Mecca is the image of Shiva, the destroyer. They also bear witness that the Kaaba itself, as we have previously seen, is a Hindu temple which was built by the Brahmins from India. Remember also that the Shiva is often worshipped through the linga, male energy, surrounded by the yoni, the female source of life. So according to Shiva Purana, it is not the linga that is worshipped, but the one whose symbol it is. This is wonderful. So Shiva, brackets, the god of Muhammad, is often worshipped through the linga, male energy surrounded by the yoni, the female source of the natural life. This is exactly what takes place at the Kaaba in Mecca every single day. The one whose symbol it is that is being worshipped at Mecca is Shiva, the destroyer. However, the image that it displays is the yoni. The black stone is yoni, the alleged female source of life. In Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, yoni is a Sanskrit word for vagina. Its counterpart is the lingam, as interpreted by some, the phallus. It is also the divine passage, womb or sacred temple to its worshippers. The word covers a range of meanings, including place of birth, source, origin, spring fountain, place of rest, repository, receptacle, seat, abode, home layer, nest, and stable. So the black stone at Mecca is the image of the woman's vagina. Please take note, this same woman is the same as that which the Bishop of Rome worships in the guise of Mary, the physical mother of the Christ. Here's the picture. After Lucifer, Semjaza, and his angels, along with their 10 kings, were driven out of the first heaven, they went along with their descendants, the so-called Brahmins from India, and crossed over the river Sindhu, conquering many nations and gave to them the Vedic way of life.